Hey, welcome to another episode of the Homebrew Devlog. So, let's just go ahead and jump right into it. So, as you're all aware of the current world situation, Denmark had to be basically put under lockdown. And what does that mean for us? Well, aside from university work being moved completely digital, our game dev had to also be moved digital. So, we had to be using Discord more, and we couldn't meet up at all. So, we really had to rely on technology to kind of save our asses in this case. So for this episode, I'm just going to be talking about what led up to this point and, our development from Don't Tell Mom all the way till, NIMRODS. And, oh yeah, by the way, our game used to be called Don't Tell Mom, and it was something completely different. And here's our logo. Now, I'm gonna give you one guess what this bears an uncanny resemblance to. So what I'm actually showing you right now is the first prototype build of DTM. It was essentially a game jam that Simon did when he was working at Polygonal Mines down in Spain. So he tested 5 different games on the employees down there, and they came to the conclusion that this was the best one. So the idea is that a person has to get back inside the house without the parents noticing, and those little spotlight things are sort of the guards. So, as you can imagine, I'm having trouble with the controls because they're pretty stiff, so it's kind of hard to navigate the world. So, you'll notice the shader patterns, which kind of give it that PlayStation vibe. So for the next build, we decided to keep that and kind of change a few things around. And here's our next build. The shaders have been tuned down, and more models and animations have been added. But the story was pivoted. Instead of a boy trying to get back into his house, it's about a boy playing pranks on adults. So, you can interact with the environment and throw a bunch of objects such as stakes around. We kept running into the same problem with these builds though, that it just was not that fun to play. So, what then? Well, the only logical solution for us was to pivot the entire genre. Instead of a stealth game, we decided to go with a 3D platformer. We also decided to change the engine as well to kind of give us more of a challenge, as well as the fact that Unity has been giving us a lot of problems lately. So, another pivot. And this finally culminated into NIMRODS. So, we changed the engine from Unity to Unreal, and we changed the character look, and we basically scrapped the whole shader style, because in the long run it just wasn't too appealing to look at from our test results, and also from other users saying that it just was not that fun. So we like I said, we scrapped the whole thing and went to basically a 3D platformer. And one of our main selling points is that we wanted tight controls. So this is like the pre alpha build that we have. So as you can see, we only have one animation, and that's the running animation that was done by Emil. And yeah, so this was just a tech demo for how our character would move around the environment. And then we have the next build, or our latest one. After we got some of the little things out of the way in terms of the movement controls in Unreal, we were able to refine even more. And not only refine, we were able to add even more animations, such as ledge grabbing and spin attack to destroy that pesky little alien right there. Also movement platforms to kind of make things a bit more interesting. That's sort of like a idea of where we could actually take this game. We also had this little candy island right here to kind of test out the collectible system. There isn't really a purpose for it right now, but just as like a, alright, so where can we take this in the future? So, as you can see, we have some up and down platforms, and in a minute I'll be demonstrating you the bouncy platform aside from the obvious little bouncing effect. And up I go on 2 platforms right here. So now we enter the tower, and this is basically where I'm showing off how players can actually traverse this area. So before we even got into the more fine aspects, we needed to make sure the movement felt good. Because bad movement controls stick out like a sore thumb in any sort of game. It kind of goes without saying. and players will be frustrated, so we had to make sure that the movement controls were as best to our ability as we could. You can actually see oh, there we go. So you can see me double jumping and actually using the spin attack to help change the direction of where I'm jumping. And as you can see, I'm having kind of a hard time doing that, so I went to go warm up. We also added a roll to kind of, you know, just kind of spice up the movement instead of just running everywhere. Sort of like how they do it in Ocarina of Time, where you can do that roll. So let's see if I can do it this time. So, utilizing everything that I know, I went ahead and traversed the platform. There you see that spin attack kind of change the direction. And bam! There I am on the windmill. The thing about this level is it's more of a tech demo, so there's no real wind state. So, I guess you could call that a wind state. Or that. Whatever floats your boat. Or you could just be like me and just jump on platforms indefinitely. And also play around with the roll attack and then hit the wall like that, before you eventually get bored and decide to just jump off the map. Wait for it. There we go. See ya. So, what now? Well, for the foreseeable future, we're just going to be refining. We need to make sure these controls are super tight and they're not frustrating at all to use. We need to make sure the platforming is fun, and we need to make sure the entertainment factor when it comes to the platforming is also fun, so we don't fall into the same pitfalls we did with the DTM. In the next episode, we'll be diving in onto why we chose the Unreal Engine, and that'll be something that Simon will be more than happy to talk about. So that's all we can show for this time. So don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, as well as following us on Twitter to get the latest updates on what's going on in NIMRODS. You can also check out our website to read some blog posts that some of our developers have put out. We're hoping you stay safe during this very, very strange time in our lives, so until next time.
You think like it's kind of like an oval, but it's not quite an oval. I went online to like some of the seat manufacturer, and they had a kind of rough model that I brought into Fusion and then used that to model geometry.